All right, round two of the same day Red Wings bedtime stories with our newest Red Wings fan, and we're gonna talk about maybe a little crying, but it's okay because he's just so tired. That's all. So, we're, yeah, I know. We're gonna talk about Sergei Fedorov. I know he just had his number retired, so everyone knows the story, but not everyone knows the story. And you don't. You don't know the story. You were there, but you were sleeping through the whole. I know. Okay, we'll talk. We'll start the story. Okay, so Sergei Fedorov was a fourth round pick in like 1980s, like 1987. I'm pretty sure. He was a draft pick, and he was in Soviet Russia back then when it still existed. You would not know about it. I didn't. I wasn't even born. Dad wasn't even born during that time. During that time, and so they draft this guy in the fourth round. It was, and the thing is back then, because of Soviet Russia, there's a low chance this player is going to come over because they were stuck in Russia, and so they couldn't come over. So what they did is the Red Wings. There's an event out in Portland that Sergey was at, in representing Russia, and it was for 8 different countries. And so what the Red Wings had done is they had gave him a signal. They used a guy named Keith Gates. He was speak Russian, and he was able to talk to Sergey through letters and everything. And in a hotel room, they gave him a signal, the newspaper, and they were like, "Hey, we're here to pick you up, and we're gonna fly you over to Detroit." And basically, he left Russia. He was not gonna come back to Russia. And so what Sergey did is he came over and he played so well. He actually finished second in the Calder race, and the Calder that is the rookie trophy for the. There's a rookie trophy, and there's the rookie cup. Calder Cup, and there's the Calder Trophy. So the Calder Cup is for the AHL. It's the best AHL team. Grand Rapids Griffins is the Red Wings team, and the Calder Trophy is the best rookie in the league. And so Sergei Fedorov lost that to Pavel Bure, I'm pretty sure. And so he came over and he was doing so well. He was doing so well. So they signed his contract to keep him around and everything. And then it comes up to a contract negotiation, and Sergei was not signed. So what ends up happening, he misses almost the whole season. He missed like almost 60 games, I think it was, at the time. And the thing is Sergey he was trying to make his money. Russians were just trying to make their money as much as they could. So what he did is Carolina Hurricanes. Yeah, we had Carolina Hurricanes. You haven't been there yet, but Carolina Hurricanes. They gave him an offer sheet, and they said, "Hey, we'll sign you for $27 million." And there was a condition on there though. They were going to pay him a 1 year deal at $12 million. So for 1 year, they'll pay $12 million, which is a crazy high amount back then. But the thing is it was $27 million, and the reason in total because there's a signing bonus in that contract that if the team went to the conference finals, then he would make an additional $15 million. Well, Carolina Hurricanes were garbage. They were not good at the time. So Sergey's like, well, I'm definitely gonna make 12 million in Carolina, and then if I don't, then and Reddick's gonna sign me, then I'll make $27 million. 25 or 27. I'm pretty sure it's 27. It was some crazy amount. And so what the Red Wings were like, well, we want to keep this player, and we have lots of money, and there's no salary cap at the time. So they signed it. By the way, he's still awake. Still awake right now. And so so the Red Wings are like, okay, fine, we'll sign you. So it still today is the largest amount in a single season that a player has ever been paid. And so, well, of course, what happens? It is 1990. It was 1998. The season of 1997, 1998 season. Because one of the reasons Sergei was asking for so much money is he had one cup with the Red Wings in 96, 97 season. So he's like, listen, I'm valuable. I know I'm valuable. And I know you guys want to sign me. So they end up signing him. They say, okay, hey, we'll sign you. And they sign him to this deal. Total in the whole season, he plays like 43 games, I think, or 44 games. And that's also playoff games. So he played like 22 seasons in the regular season and like 23 in the playoffs. And guess what they did? They won the Stanley Cup. So he got his bonus, got the $12 million in the 1 year. And of course, stays, and they wins the cup with them. And eventually, this is one of the reasons that Sergei Fedorov's number was just retired, because he was drafted the same year as Nick Lidstrom, but Nick Lidstrom's was retired, not retired. Number was retired like over a decade ago. And so the reason there was this controversial is because he he was like he had a bit of frustration because he wanted to be a number one center. He was a second line center behind Steve Eisman. Of course, Steve Eisman was a phenomenal player, and there was a big dispute. And so what ends up happening is Anaheim offers him so Eisman, the Red Wings offer him a 5-year deal at $50 million for the whole thing. So that's $10 million a year. Great contract. And he's just so frustrated with them, and he's like, I want to be the number one center. I want to be the guy on the team. And so he ends up leaving and takes less money at a 5-year contract with the Anaheim Ducks, which is pisses off the Detroit Red Wings ownership because they're so mad about that. Because he leaves and he's a star, and they're like, hey, we would have paid you all the money, da, 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 and you still want to leave. And so one of the reasons that was cited, not a good reason, but they talk about it. They were just trying to slander, I imagine, was that he wanted to drive his red Corvette 365 days a year, which of course you can't do in Michigan. So he ends up leaving. There ends up being such an issue in Anaheim because there's some rookies over there. There's Corey Perry. There is who else is it? Ryan Getzlaff. There's some rookies over there, and Brian Burke is the GM at the time. Again, he's the one that signed Sergey. So Brian Burke's like, listen, you're too much of a party animal. You're partying in LA, and this Anaheim, mind you, is not very far away from LA. So he Brian Burke is like, listen, you're a bad influence. You're basically a bad influence. So he ends up sending the rookies, Ryan Getzlaff and Corey Perry, down to the AHL to get him away from Sergey. Because he's just such a partying animal, and it's not a good representation. So he, so again, ends up finishing off, or something happens in Anaheim, and then he goes to like Washington, and he goes to Columbus, like just doesn't hit, doesn't get the same notoriety he was before in these big markets, right? Like Anaheim is a bigger market because the LA's right there. You have Washington was back then, but like you have Washington. Again, it just didn't work out, and so he retires. Right, there's over 1,000 games, plus thousand what's it called, points as well. Plus great player. By the way, he's the only player to win best player voted by the NHL players, NHLPA, the Hart Trophy, and the Selke Trophy so you get the most valuable player award, and you got the best defensive forward in the league. That's how good this guy was, putting up points, and he was great defensively. Actually, the crazy thing was Fedorov. Love you. One of the best things about Fedorov is that Scotty Bowman got so frustrated with his defensive abilities that he, as a punishment, by the way, he's still awake, as a punishment, put him on defense. And the problem was, is he was so good on defense that he was our best defenseman. Isn't that crazy? He was so good defense that he was just our best defenseman immediately. And so he's like, Scotty Bowman says he has to take him off, which is it's just crazy. So again, so there's a bit of frustration, a bit of animosity. Mike Ilitch, who was the original owner, he owns the Detroit Tigers and Red Wings, he passed away. So Chris Ilitch is taking over. We don't care for Chris Ilitch right now because he's not developing downtown Detroit, and he's trying to control the team when Yzerman should be controlling the team. But I get it. You pay billions of dollars, hundreds of $1 millions for this team. Like, you want to have some control. But Chris Ilitch really wants playoffs. And Yzerman's like, no, there's patience. We need patience. And so it's just taking a little bit longer. So anyways, let's wrap up the Sergey story. And since you're still awake, we'll talk about Chris Ilitch a little bit too, and the Yzerman's drafting strategies. And so Sergey, of course, earlier this year, it was announced last year, it's 2026 now, 2025 it was announced that they're going to retire Sergey Fedorov's number. And the reason we thought this is because no one could wear the number. So Daniel Sprong asked for the number when he got here. He wasn't allowed to wear it. And then Vladimir Tarasenko came here, and he wanted to wear it, and he said he couldn't wear it. So there was this thought that eventually Sergey Fedorov, who was one of the best players, he was second to one season he was second to Wayne Gretzky. He was 24-year-old Fedorov was second to Wayne Gretzky in points. Wayne Gretzky had 32, had 140 points. Sergey Fedorov had 140 points for Wayne Gretzky, 130 for Sergey. So he was that good. He put his second Hart. That just shows how dominant he was. So again, Chris Ilitch gives the okay. They're going to retire 91. So again, so just a couple weeks ago, they retire Sergei Fedorov's number 91. And so here we have, he is now like, he's well regarded in Detroit now. So I'm curious to eventually bring him back as a like coach, or like he's a Russia development or something like that. Like, I'm really curious on that. I think that'd be really cool to get him in the organization somehow in some sort of position. So, anywho, so since you're still awake, the guy's still awake. You didn't fall asleep. So, yeah. So there's this thought, and one of the reasons I'm disgruntled. I was mad at Chris. I was mad was because Irishman has been preaching patience. So Irishman comes in August. August, no, he comes in not August. In 2019, basically comes in 2019. Season's end, and so he's like, hey, preach patience. Got to go through the draft, or go through the draft and build the team through the draft. Anyhow, and talks about it. He's like, hey, we're gonna go through a rebuild. Or Eisman says we're going to go through a rebuild. And mind you, the Red Wings had missed the playoffs for 3 years at this point. So 2016 was the last time we made the playoffs. They had missed the playoffs for the last 3 years prior to that. So Eisman comes in 2019 and says, hey, we need patience. Lots and lots of patience. So it's going to take rebuilding the draft and everything. And so you had to look at what did Kenny Holland leave Eisenman? Well, he didn't leave much. He left Dennis Cholowski, Andrei Svechnikov, Philip Zadina, Joe Veleno, and Dylan Larkin and Michael Rasmussen. So you're like, oh my God, those are all first round picks. They must be good, right? Well, I mean, there's only two of them on the Red Wings now. Michael Rasmussen, who I would say didn't live up to his ninth overall pick. That's not his fault. And Dylan Larkin, who definitely outdid his draft pick. He was 15th overall. He probably goes like 8th now. That's a William Nylander draft. So he didn't leave. Again, Andrei Svechnikov, no longer in the NHL. Zadina, he's in the Czech League, no longer in the NHL. Cholowski's still in the NHL. He's with the Islanders now. He went to Seattle in the expansion draft. Leno was traded from the Red Wings to Chicago to Seattle. Seattle bought him out, and now he's playing for the Montreal Canadiens. So, again, not really working out, which happens. I mean, it really set the rebuild back. Because actually didn't have anybody. He basically had Larkin and Rasmussen. And there was really no there was a second round pick there's two players that did work out. Bertuzzi and Hronek. Those guys look good. They won a Calder Cup. Well, Bertuzzi won a Calder Cup. I don't know if Hronek did down. I think he did. Down with the Grand Rapids Griffins. And so he Eisman was able to get a first round pick for him, which he uses to trade for Alex DeBrincat. Hronek was traded for a first and a fourth overall pick. That's how they got Axel Palika. But basically, Eisman's like, appreciate patience. So Eisman drafts Mort Seider at 6th overall. And everyone was like, oh my God, dumbfounded, right? This guy was supposed to go in the teens. What is he doing just 6th overall? And I think Eisman tried to train down, but it didn't work out. Even if Seider wasn't available, they were going to go with that's the Quinn Hughes draft, by the way. They weren't going to go with Quinn Hughes. They were going to go with Evan Bouchard. But they picked Seider, and it's working out because if you look at it, honestly, Seider probably goes first or second overall to Jack Hughes. Like, that's how good he is. Like, he's that good. He's a franchise defenseman. He's a franchise defenseman. Oh, you want to change sides? We'll change sides. And so, with that, you got then 2020 draft comes by, and he picks Lucas Raymond 4th overall. And the thing is in the 1920 season, the Red Wings were terrible. They were last in the league. And they were supposed to get first overall because, hey, they're last in the league. And they ended up dropping. So, and then this is a COVID year, too. So, the Rangers end up making the playoffs because they're in a spot where it was the COVID, so they expanded to 24 teams, and they ended up making the playoffs, the top 16. So, not only the Rangers make the playoffs, they also got the first overall pick, which was very frustrating for Daddy. Daddy was furious, to say the least. And so they pick Raymond, and so Raymond is 4th overall. And so it ended up working out. He probably goes second or third in the draft with like Tim Stützle and Jake Sanderson, one of the two. But I mean, Raymond missed some games, and he's still on track for 90 points this season. And so we're looking at 2021. We just talked about 2021 in the last video. Check out the last video. Red Wings draft Sebastian Costa 15th overall and Simon Evanson at 6th overall. So Chris Ellis is like, oh, I know you're so sleepy, probably getting hungry too. He's like, hey, I got this new arena. I want to have playoffs in it. And so he's like, Arson, put on the gas, okay? Start getting some free agents. That's when you get like Andrew Kopp and Ben Sherratt and a couple of players. Like you're starting these like one to sign players. And then the 2022 season, that was Michael Brunswick Nygaard draft. No. Was it MEM draft? No. It would be Michael Casper draft 2022. Because was like, I still want playoffs. So Arjun goes out and signs like 11 free agents and then trades for Alex Rinkat. And it's the 12th. It brings in 12 new guys, which is a huge shakeup. That's a huge shakeup. You're basically overturning over half your roster. So again, the thing is you don't know this yet, but I'm going to let you know. You can't buy your way into a playoff. You have to do it over time. It takes time, man. It takes patience. And so, again, Eisenman's like, preaching patience, preaching patience, preaching patience. And it's just not working. Again, and they missed the playoffs by just a smidge. And then so in 2023, they just finished right behind the Washington Capitals, had the same amount of points, but the Capitals had more regulation wins. And they draft in 2023, they draft Michael Branson Nygaard, 15th overall. And then again, everyone has these expectations. Oh my God, they just barely missed the playoffs. They got to make playoffs next year. They have to. And I'm like, no, they don't. They need patience. Again, Ken Holland says, hey, it takes 8 to 10 years for a rebuild, like a full-fledged rebuild. And you can be a playoff team and still finishing off a rebuild. And so everyone's like, oh, the rebuild must have started after 2016 because that was the last time they missed the playoffs. That is incorrect. None of those players hit. So in Dad's opinion, the rebuild didn't start till Eisman got here because he got rid of bad contracts like Abdelkader and he got Darren Helm and all these players, Anthony CU and everything. So he was able to move off a lot of these guys or trade them or just buy them out. And so so people are thinking, Dad goes out to 2019, doesn't go to 2016. So if you're at 2024, you're only 5 years in the rebuild, and then Red Wings finish. They were supposed to finish 8th overall. They ended up finishing 9th. And then they got bumped down again. So, and they got in 2024, they got drafted. And Dad's like, oh my goodness, there's so many good players. There's Oliver Moore. There's a Axel Palika. Like, oh my God, they have 9th overall. Who are they going to pick? They pick Nate Danielson. And again, Dad. Dad's got some frustration. Dad's like, hey, draft guys to the SHL. Look at who they drafted out of the SHL. DEL was Mort Sider. But he went to the SHL. Then Rain went to the SHL. And then Simon Evanson went to the NHL or SHL. Kosa was that. Remember we talked about last bedtime story. Kosa was out of the Western Hockey League, and Dad's skeptical. Dad's super skeptical. And then you look at MEN, who was Gear Casper, SHL. He's Austrian. He's out of the SHL. Michael Branson Nygaard, SHL. And then you go 9th overall. You're like, oh my God, Axel Palika. That's like a highly ranked pick. And then he picks Nate Danielson 9th overall. Nate Danielson, another like Western hockey kid of the WHL. And Dad's super skeptical, remember? Dad's skeptical of these WHL kids. He's like, and he's not skeptical of the kids. There's some good guys. There's some good players that come out of there. Connor Bedard came out of there. But the thing is that Dad doesn't trust the scouts over there because he's unsure because he saw them draft Michael Rasmussen 9th overall. He's like, I don't trust him. Again, Dad doesn't know who the scouts because that's intentional. Dad doesn't know the scouts. They changed and everything. Some went with Ken Holland. But Dad's like, oh my God, he's skeptical of Nate Danielson. And I was a little frustrated. But again, they have the 17th overall pick because they traded Philip Hronik to the Vancouver Canucks. Vancouver Canucks traded Bo Horvat. Bo Horvat was traded from the Vancouver Canucks to the New York Islanders. So the Vancouver Canucks picked up Hronik with that first round pick, which was 17th overall. So Red Wings draft 17th overall pick. I just talked about. I know it is a good. This is the climax of the story. Guess who they get out of the SHL? Guess who they get out of the SHL? It's I know you're so upset because he's your favorite player. He's small like you. Axel Cindy Palika. He's Axel Cindy Palika. So they gave him 17 over picks. So they still get another SHL guy. Dad's so excited. Dad would have been happy if that was drafted earlier round. But they still got a great SHL player who's going to work out as a great offensive defenseman. So that's 2024. Red Wings also get Carter Bear, Dad at 13th overall, I'm pretty sure. And Dad's a little skeptical of him. Again, another VHL guy, but hopefully it works out. Oh, no. You're just a little sleepy. But that is so Chris Ellis tried to rush these things. But now look at the 2026 Red Wings. Again, they've drafted, they've taken their time, they made smart moves, and now they're coming on the rebuild, and they're probably going to make the playoffs this year. I know you're upset because the playoffs aren't here yet, but they're probably going to make the playoffs this year. So anyways, that is why Dad doesn't care for Chris Illich, because you can't rush the process. And you can't rush it. And now Cop's finally starting to work out in the second line with Patrick Kane and Alex DeBrincat. Comfer is not looking like it. He's doing better this year, but he's not doing amazing. Sherratt is Sherratt. He's playing second pair right now, but he should be playing third pair. He's playing first pair. He's playing second pair. He should be playing third pair. Yeah, it's just some good guys. There's some good, exciting guys on the team, and I think they're going to make the playoffs. And it's very exciting, and it'll be his first year. It'll be Devereaux's first year. Devereaux's first year as a Red Wings fan, and he will probably get playoffs. So it's very exciting. This is supposed to be a bedtime story. It is not. He's clearly still awake, and I've been talking for 21 minutes, and he still hasn't fallen asleep. And so we are going to probably go find some food because he might be hungry. So, anyways, love you guys. Hey, stick around bedtime stories. See you in the next one. Say bye, bud. Bye.